I'm Big Zay.
Morning, Brad.
Morning, boys. What's going on?
Well, you've seen 1,000 of these injury lists and 1,000 reports, and you've understood what it means when you add a guy who had an injury to the injury list on a Sunday for a Monday night game. What does that tell you? And I'm talking, obviously, about Kyler Gordon now being listed as questionable with hamstring.
Yeah, I mean, that would indicate to me that potentially he tweaked it Saturday in practice, and they either put him on there as a precaution or they've got a potential problem on their hands with Gordon, who I believe he first had the hamstring issue in training camp back on August 7th. So we're talking about a month ago. And then, didn't practice in the joint practice with the Dolphins. He was basically done for preseason at that point. Soft tissue issues have been an issue for him in the past. With any luck for the Bears, this was a super precautionary measure. But we'll find out tonight, and we might learn a little bit more this afternoon, guys. I think at 3 p.m. will be when they have to reveal any players from the practice squad that have been elevated for the game. So you're talking about, if you see two cornerbacks get elevated, that could tell you that they feel like help is needed.
So, Brad, let's play that through. And for people that don't remember, Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, TJ Edwards, if all three miss tonight's game, who are their replacements and how much faith do the Bears have in them?
Well, I mean, the Jalen Johnson replacement, but you'll see what you saw all of training camp, which is Nashawn Wright and Tyreek Stevenson as the cornerbacks on the outside. And I don't think TJ Edwards will play, and that could be multiple weeks for him. I don't know. With the hamstring, hopefully it's on the shorter end of that. But you're going to see Noah Sewell step into his role as the starter, and then at that nickel position, I don't believe Josh Blackwell will play. He missed quite a bit of time with a groin, although they did get him back at practice late this past week. So I think the clear candidate there is Nick McLeod, who is a guy Dennis Allen talked about very early in training camp. Hey, this is a guy that's impressed me. His ability to be flexible and play on the inside, play on the outside. He's a veteran. He's got starting experience. So those are the guys you'd be looking at.
This segment with Brad Biggs is sponsored by Est-Wing Professional Tools, made in the USA for over 100 years. Estwing.com. What do you have to see from Caleb Williams to know things are going right? What is it that, will you be able to tell immediately? I know the practice time has been up and down, but just thinking about the gameplay and stuff, if the operation's working, it'll be him marching the team down the field, right?
Yeah, I think you're looking for them to be crisp in everything that's happening before the ball's snapped, and certainly that wasn't the case during all of preseason and all of training camp, and you're looking for evidence that, hey, they're able to operate on time here. They're able to play in rhythm here. Is that going to happen every snap? Of course not. But to do that with some regularity, which was a big struggle last year, can he hit the top of his drop and the ball's coming out? And if they can move the ball, you'll look at it and you'll say, hey, big step forward here for the quarterback at the start of year 2.
Harrison Smith for the Vikings, the longtime safety, has been ruled out, Brad. What effect do you think that will have on the game? Could that mean the Bears are more inclined to take some chances because of they don't have to worry about Harrison Smith playing games with Caleb Williams?
Yeah, I mean, Harrison Smith's a guy who is has been really good for a long time. Now he for the last couple seasons hasn't been the player that you think of early in his career in terms of his range and things like that. They obviously wanted to bring him back for, I mean, how many? He's been in the league since 2012. That's amazing. Because of what he adds to that defense on the back end. But, you know, I don't think you look at it and say, hey, no Harrison Smith, we can let's get aggressive here. Or if Harrison Smith's playing, hey, we got to be really careful. He's fantastic for a long time. He's not the guy that he was 6-7 years ago.
All right, Brad. So we know that the Bears have significantly improved their offensive line. How do you believe that will reveal itself in this game?
Hopefully with the ability for them to control the line of scrimmage and open running lanes, dictate kind of tempo with how they're able to run the football, protect the quarterback. When's the last time you watched a Bears team over a period of time? I'm not talking about a drive or a one weekend or anything like that. But when's the last time you watched a Bears team and you had the feeling like, man, most weeks they can kind of go out and kick ass with their offensive line. And I don't know that that's going to be the case this year. That's the goal, right? But I think it's been quite a while since you felt that way about that group for the Bears. So what does that look like? And it's going to be interesting because I think they're going to try to lean into their running game in a big way. And this is a challenging group to do it against. Now we know that success one year doesn't mean you're going to have it in the same category the next year. The Bears in 2023 were fantastic against the run, one of the best run defenses in the league. They were terrible a year ago. I mention that because the Vikings were number 2 in the league against the run last year, that defense. But you've got a lot of new parts. Jonathan Allen's brought in. Javon Hargrave's brought in, so they paid big money in free agency for a couple of veterans there. We'll have to see how this group looks stopping the run, but I think they want to try to get after it with that rebuilt offensive line, guys.
This segment with Brad Biggs, sponsored by Plumbers 911. Plumbing emergency? Call the plumbing professionals, available 24/7 at 1-833-PLUM-911. Brad, over the weekend, Ben Johnson was asked a question about the running back situation, depth behind DeAndre Swift. He answered it by reinforcing trust in Kyle Monangai, which suggested that he might be available. I wonder what else they may have in hand in terms of, you mentioned the practice squad guys being promoted. If DeAndre Swift doesn't carry every time the Bears run the ball tonight, who else is getting those carries?
Well, Monangai's the first guy up, right? I believe he was removed from the injury report. I think he's clear that he doesn't have a designation. So I think you're looking at Kyle Monangai and what he can do. Obviously, Roschon Johnson isn't going to be ready just yet. So you look at Monangai, and if they feel they need to, they'll elevate Britton Brown from the practice squad. The couple practice squad spots you got to look at. I would start at linebacker, right? Because they're thin there, with T.J. Edwards out, and I think that Tano is a guy at defensive end that'll probably have a chance of being bumped up. It sounded like that was the plan when he re-signed with the practice squad. We'll have to see. The one to watch for, though, in my mind, is, are they seeking help at cornerback?
I'm very curious, Brad, when you think about the two tight end sets that the Bears are like to play, or that the head coach has played previously. Do you? And I think you've written this, that like them being in 12 is like they're in 11 because of the skill set of the tight end. But if they were going to go with a two tight end set, could they use DJ Moore in the backfield? Do they use him with other players, or would that be a way of getting multiple receivers on the field in a two tight end set?
Yeah, we could see DJ line up in the backfield a little bit tonight. I think Monangai is the first choice,
right?
If they want to get Swift a little bit of rest, or Monangai might be the first choice in certain situations with certain plays, or down and distance situations. Monangai might be the first choice. We could see, I think, DJ moonlight back there a little bit, but I don't think that's something that they want to major in or anything like that.
So, Brad, we had a question on the pick six. Curious what you would answer. Which quarterback tonight, J.J. McCarthy or Caleb Williams, arrives with the most pressure? Who is under the most pressure tonight among the two starting quarterbacks?
Oh boy, I mean I think you're talking about young quarterbacks in the National Football League. They're both going to be dealing with quite a bit of that. But I think Caleb's probably under a little bit more pressure. And these guys are in the same draft class, but this is JJ's debut after missing last season, and Caleb's got to perform for a new coaching staff now. This is a coaching staff that wasn't here when he was selected. I think that's who the guy's got to be if you're saying which guy's got more pressure on him.
I'm very curious, Brad, if you watched a lot of football yesterday, if you feel that the Lions missed Ben Johnson, if you feel like the Jets got a lift from the former offensive coordinator in Detroit, or the former passing game coordinator in Detroit. Just how much do you believe the Lions have lost from their coaching staff, with obviously Aaron Glenn and the two coordinators leaving, but also passing game coordinator? We know the Bears have some staff members. I'm just curious if that was why the Lions looked as pedestrian as they did.
Well, it's got to be a factor, right? You talk about the struggles that they had yesterday. I mean, about the only thing they did real well was throw the check down pass, right? Yeah. Like they didn't run the ball a lick. They really didn't throw the ball downfield. I think Laporta had one. But let's not overlook the fact that I think the Packers are pretty good, guys.
Oh yeah, they look great. But
I mean, the Packers are pretty good, and I had an interesting conversation with a guy who works in personnel for another team last week, and he said, "Hey, when do the Bears play Green Bay first time?" And I said, "It's not till late in the year." Like I said, I think they play them twice in 3 weeks, but it's real late in the year. It might be like weeks 14 and 16. He said, "Oh," and I said, "Why do you ask?" And he said, "This is a defense you're going to want to probably try to catch early in the season, provided that the team's still healthy late in the year." Mm-hmm. He said it's going to take them a while to figure out exactly what they want to do with Parsons and for him to fit in. And he didn't play a ton yesterday, obviously, but his point was like, this is a defense you want to see sooner rather than later, and what the Lions saw yesterday was pretty impressive.
So, Brad, tonight, I am wondering how you would tell somebody when they say, what do you expect on fourth down? What will be the approach on fourth down? Is it, across midfield, they're always going to go for it? Is it certain situations? We saw all kinds of examples again yesterday of kickers with big legs. Chris Boswell won the game with a 60-yarder for the Steelers. I don't know if Cairo Santos has that kind of leg, but what should we expect on fourth down tonight?
Well, I think they'll be aggressive, and what responsibility would Ben Johnson have in Detroit for the Lions being so aggressive the previous 3 seasons on fourth down. I don't know. Like, ultimately, his ass wasn't on the line when making that decision, right? That was Dan Campbell. But I know this, that Ben Johnson feels strongly about the analytics involved with fourth down decisions, that when he was an assistant with the Miami Dolphins, and Joe Philbin was the head coach, and Dan Campbell happened to be a coach there at the time, that Ben said, hey, I'd like to do a kind of a study in the fourth down and punt or go for it situations. This was in the off season, and so Philbin's like, okay, go ahead. And so he puts in all this work to come up with this presentation about the decisions behind that and the math, right? And so super young coach with the Dolphins, and he gives this presentation in front of a ton of coaches with a lot more experience. And Zach Taylor, the Bengals coach, is the one that told me about it. He was sitting in the room, and he said it was super impressive. And Philbin kind of laughed about it when I asked him about it. He said, I think Ben was hoping we'd go for it on fourth down almost every time, and they didn't do that. But, yeah, I'm curious to see, Dave. Yeah, if they're on the plus side of the 50, you'd think there's a heck of a chance they're going for it. Now, if it's, 4th and 12 from the 49, that probably doesn't make sense. But I'm interested to see what it looks like in a game that matters.
All right, Biggsy, break it down. Who'd you pick? What do you think?
Oh, boy, I have no idea what to think. Like, a really brand new situation for the Bears. Quarterback that's a total unknown for Minnesota. Like, is it really just plug and play for Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings staff? I don't know. I think we could see J.J. McCarthy running around for his life at times tonight, kind of unnecessarily, which you see young quarterbacks do from time to time, which we saw Caleb do at times last season. I'm not sure what to think of this Bears offense. I believe they're really going to try to get after it on the ground. But so with very little conviction, I picked the Bears to win 20-17, guys.
Oh, you guys are all very close.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in good company here. That's Dustin's pick, Brad.
Well, Dustin and I spent the weekend discussing this. So no, I'm kidding.
Great minds think alike.
Great minds share their information.
Great stuff, Brad.